Hey, what's up guys, it's Oakley, and we're going to be doing a very quick run through of the Skaven campaign mechanic. CA has us on a timer, so let's get to it. The first one is going to be the Underworld mechanic. This applies to Skaven settlements. Essentially what it means is that your settlements are going to appear hidden until an army or a lord or a hero stumbles upon it. So to all outsiders, your city is going to be like in stealth mode. It's going to appear like a ruin. However, it's important to note that this does not apply to Skaven. Skaven can witness each other. But take a look at the flyover that we're seeing here for the B-roll. That city right here would appear to an outsider to be a type of relic, but if a high elf force tries to attack it, to plunder it, to get the riches, it may turn out that there's a full-on infestation. The next important mechanic is going to be food. This is a very important resource that you can both produce and consume. So the production comes in when either you can gain it from battles, from sacking settlements, or from special building that contain pasture resources, and then it gets consumed by either having armies in the field or recolonizing ruins, and then also the menace below, which we'll get into. But basically, if you have an income and expenditure in terms of food, you'll end up at some sort of food level. And on the left, you could have seen the different summaries where it gives you pluses and minuses. Here you can see the food remaining, and so the menace below allows you to have invest more into Skaven that can come up from the ground. So if you go up to 8, it's going to chew into some of your food, but within the battle you're allowed to have 8 times of that ability, so it can be important. And then in that victory, so I got a little bit of food, and then finally here it gives me the option of when I settle this area here, I can sack it, I can raise it, but if I want to occupy it, generally what happens is buildings are destroyed and the settlement gets knocked down a peg. If you don't want it to go down to a super low level, you can actually invest some food into maintaining a high level. So that is a cool mechanic to kind of counterbalance some of the raiding and pillaging you'll be doing. I wanted to freeze frame from here on Skaven Corruption. So Skaven Corruption is another important mechanic. It's going to be added to the Chaos and Vampiric Corruption. Operates very much the same level where you can spread it. If public order drops too low and there's Skaven Corruption, then an uprising will occur. And then this corruption will spread out over various places. They also added this kind of nifty campaign layover for Skaven Corruption. You'll be seeing that in just a second. But essentially you're going to want to spread it, but I believe the Skaven Corruption does have kind of a deleterious effect on Skaven. So here you can see a little bit further along in the campaign how far it has spread to various places. And then if you look at that, the public order does take a little bit of a ping. So yeah, Skaven, you want to watch out on how much Skaven Corruption you're building up, because after a while, it gets to be pretty deleterious to everyone. Another important new thing that they're adding is going to be climates, and that's essentially there are different zones within the world. You're no longer hard locked into what you can conquer, but if you try to conquer certain areas, you can see on the right, an uninhabitable area, if you try and conquer it, you're going to have huge debuffs. So you're not locked out of capturing certain regions, you'll just get debuffs. So that's a nice change they're implementing. And it'll go back into the combined campaign as well. Here I did want to show that I'm going to get this Grey Seer, and I was in the campaign a little bit oblivious to what was going on, but I recruited him, and it turns out that my faction here does have a disadvantage when hiring Grey Seers, and they suffer from low loyalty when you get them. So loyalty is a new mechanic essentially. So loyalty, if it's too low, one of your commanders can go rogue and start his own faction, which is a cool little interesting thing. And the way you combat this is by giving them better troops, gaining them victories, giving them better armor and equipment. So they're kind of petty forces. So you might want to send him on a quest, get a nice victory, and then his loyalty will go up. Speaking about victories, battles, and losses, here I noticed that replenishment is very important. So you can eat captives, you can enslave them, but there's a lot of technology and upgrades you can do to get better replenishment on your Skaven forces. And one of the things I noticed is that you can take lots of losses in battle, but then within the next turn, you can get like super replenishment rates on your forces. So that is something you definitely want to tech up to. So for instance, you can see here, look at that, like a third of my force is going to be able to heal up instantly going into the next battle. So that is very Skaven-esque in terms of, throwing fodder in every battle and then just regenerating your numbers. There's also a very interesting thing I discovered in the objective section. A final victory condition makes allusions to the final battle. We don't quite know what that is, but that's going to be very, very interesting. Who knows? An endgame mechanic with the final battle? Is it a chaos boss? What type of thing is it going to be? But Dogbert told me that is going to be very exciting. Anyways, that is going to be kind of it for this one. I did also want to show that when you we'll be taking a look at this real briefly, but when you end your turn, you actually have the ability to modify how this plays out. You can change the speed, you can change what the camera is locking onto, you can change these settings with respect to different factions. So I thought that was all very cool, very nifty, and it'll definitely help on the combined campaign where there's a whole buttload of different factions running around, and you really want to control the speed of that end turn timer. So that was an awesome little addition to the UI that I thought. Anyways, that's it for this one. Hope you guys enjoyed. Stay tuned for more, and see you in the next one. Peace out.